Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, and it's happening. It's happening exactly as we predicted. The indictment is blowing up in the Democrats' faces, all as President Trump surges to his largest lead ever. We're going to look at the latest polls taken over the weekend. We're going to see how Trump is leaving the competition in the dust. And make sure to stick them to the very end of this video because we're going to see how the liberal legacy media are already second-guessing this whole indictment travesty. You are not going to want to miss this. We now have 3 independent polls that corroborate that the indictment has backfired against the Democrats, with Trump surging to his largest lead yet. Let's start with the new McLaughlin poll out there today. It's a survey of 1,000 general election voters, so these are likely voters. It was conducted on Friday and Saturday after the indictment was handed down, and it found that if the election were held today, not only would Trump beat Biden by 4 points, 47 to 43, but that's outside the margin of error, but when it comes to the race for the GOP nomination, the primary, Trump is towering over the field by 30 points. He leads DeSantis 51 to 21, along with all the others in the race for the nomination. Pence it's at 6, Haley's at 4. But it's even more dramatic when it's just Trump and DeSantis head to head. Trump beats DeSantis in a two-way race 63 to 30. And what McLaughlin found was that voters in both the primary and the general election were more likely to vote for Trump over the indictment, not less. And again, I want to reiterate that's exactly what we predicted. Remember, Trafalgar polling recently found that 79% of likely voters, 8 in 10, believe that we live in a two-tier justice system that deliberately protects political insiders at the expense of ordinary Americans. People felt the same way about the Mar-a-Lago raid. Rasmussen found that 53% of likely voters agreed with the statement that the FBI was functioning like Biden's Gestapo. And the risk that the ruling class is taking in all of this indictment stuff is that if it were perceived as weaponized legalism, many who normally wouldn't support Trump would sympathize with him and rally to his cause. Now, it's not just McLaughlin. A brand new YouGov poll just came out, and it's showing almost exactly the same thing. Trump has surged to a 30-point lead over the other GOP contenders, his largest lead ever over DeSantis, 52 to 21. And even the ultra-left Newsweek has conducted their poll, and they're finding the exact same thing. In a poll taken 2 weeks ago between March 14th and 19th, Trump's support among likely Republican primary voters stood at over 43%. This past weekend, in a poll taken after the indictment announcement, Trump has surged to a dominant 56% support. Even John Bolton, the swamp creature himself, is admitting that this indictment could add what he calls rocket fuel to guarantee Trump securing the Republican nomination. Now, Bolton thinks the case has to be thrown out of court or Trump would have to win in order for that to happen. But as we can clearly see, it's already happening. Trump's numbers are already surging, both in the primary and in the general. Even Democrats like West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin are calling out this woke Manhattan DA for the fraud indictment. He fully admitted over the weekend that this indictment looks very much like Trump is being politically targeted, and he fears Trump is going to politically benefit from this. Now, of course, the legacy media is going to spin this in a very different direction. They're going to be pushing the narrative that the vast majority of the nation wants Trump indicted and even convicted, and they want him to drop out of the race, yada, yada, yada. Remember, the legacy media is vested in fabricating an anti-Trump narrative designed deliberately to take him out of the race precisely because they fear him the most. Don't ever forget that. The only reason why this pathetic excuse of an indictment is being launched against Trump is because they fear him. If they didn't fear him, they'd be spending all of their time trying to take down DeSantis. So the Marxist media is all in on this politics of destruction, so don't even give them the time of day. But there's even some cracks in the legacy media. Wait until you see the backfire that CNN is already freaking out over. You're going to absolutely love it. But first, gang, I got to tell you, I was absolutely shocked when I was recently shown just how easy it is to access the deed to my house, and not just access it, but actually change it. If you don't know, the deed to your home is the only document that proves you own it. But the problem is that the deeds to all our homes are now online, and criminals are free to find your deed, forge your signature, refile as the new owner of your home, take out tons of loans using your home's equity, and then sticking you with all the debt. And don't expect homeowners insurance to bail you out, because it doesn't. But that's where our good friends over at Home Title Lock come in. Gang, they're absolutely amazing. Home Title Lock gives you the peace of mind that the deed to your home is absolutely and completely protected. Click on that link below right now. Use promo code Turley Talks. Then all you got to do is enter your address for your no obligation home title scan to see if you've already been a victim of deed theft. That's $100 value, absolutely and totally free with my promo code Turley Talks. Gang, don't wait for the worst to happen only to regret that you didn't do something about it when you could have. Click on that link below right now and secure your home today. CNN is actually worried about Alvin Bragg releasing Trump's mugshot to the public in fear that it would make Trump even more iconic. They're actually afraid it will only turn him into a martyr. Take a look.
One thing I want to say, about how he is handled on Tuesday. If I were the DA, if I were to advise him, and I'm not a lawyer, I'm a political strategist, but I would give him every courtesy that I could. I would certainly not handcuff him. David's right. I think he would love that picture. I would make very sure that booking photo is not released. He would turn it into T-shirts, and he'd turn himself into Che Guevara there as an iconic image. I would just make sure that this goes down smoothly, and that he is not made a spectacle of on Tuesday, because that will all would all play into his public relations strategy there.
Right, and the martyrdom that David Ehrenberg was referring to, that Trump is hoping to have.
Oh, it's just too good. I mean, what do you say to this? Now they're worried that photos of Trump or video of Trump handcuffed is going to make him more appealing. And of course, we can't have that. They don't want that. After all, the whole purpose is for the media to destroy him, not help him. Dear God, we can't let him become a martyr. You can't make this stuff up. They admit it. These people are sick. Now, speaking of sick people, as this momentum towards Trump builds, the bad news is there's inevitably going to be a Robert the Bruce figure that surfaces on our side. Do you remember Robert the Bruce from the movie Braveheart? One of the greatest movies ever. Freedom! He was the son of a leprosy-ridden Scottish nobleman named Robert the Elder. And Robert the Elder was a hardcore Scottish member of the English establishment. And he believed he could secure the throne of Scotland for his son, Robert the Bruce, by submitting to the English establishment. And there's an amazing scene shortly after William Wallace confided into Robert the Bruce that if Robert the Bruce led the Scots against the English, the ruling establishment, then the Scottish people would unite behind him and follow him, and William Wallace would too. But then again, at the instigation of his pro-English, pro-establishment father, Robert the Bruce secretly joined the English for what was supposed to be a decisive battle stopping William Wallace's rebellion. And there's an amazing scene in the movie when William Wallace is about to kill him, and he takes off his helmet and reveals himself as Robert the Bruce. And William Wallace has this face of such stunning and utter betrayal. And he just drops his sword and falls to the ground. He can't believe that the person he thought could help lead the Scots to freedom against the English establishment would turn around and defend the establishment against the Scots. So I'm just going to tell you now, there's going to be a Robert the Bruce. There's going to be somebody out there who claims to be all pro-Trump, fully pro-MAGA, America first, but who's going to sell us out to the ruling class, our rhino establishment elite. Now, I'll be honest, I'm very worried that that's going to be Ron DeSantis. Again, right now, he's rallying behind Trump, but I wouldn't be the least surprised if he turned around at some point and demanded that Trump drop out of the race precisely because of these bogus charges. Keep an eye out for anyone who claims to be MAGA, who then turns around and sides with the establishment narrative that Trump needs to drop out. I'm just letting you know, they don't call it the swamp for nothing. So we'll have to keep our eyes out for a major betrayer in the mix among the Republicans who's going to try to steal the mantle of leadership from Trump precisely by taking the side of the establishment. So Game of Thrones, here we come. It'll be fascinating to watch. As always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You will definitely want to check out my latest video. It's our live stream from last Friday, right after the indictment was announced. I think it's going to absolutely encourage you throughout all this. We are more united as an American people against the establishment than ever before. You're going to love it. So make sure to click on the link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.